Hello, my name is Joanne. This is my capstone presentation. Today I'll introduce my K-12 learning journey, reflections on core competencies, and my capstone project along with its final products. When I think about my learning journey from kindergarten to grade 12, it feels like a path across languages, cultures, and communities. Each place has shaped who I'm becoming and how I learn. I began kindergarten through grade 2 in Beijing, spending most of my time with my grandparents while my parents worked nights. I grew up surrounded by legends, Tang Dynasty poems, lots of fables. So while I couldn't write yet, I learned to listen, imagine, and ask questions. Those stories taught me that learning can come from tradition, conversation, and curiosity. In those early school years, I also learned discipline and responsibility. I practiced pinyin, my joint performances, and competed in art festivals. So I discovered that efforts leads to growth, and kindness and humility matter just as much. This is little me. In grade 3 and 4, my family moved to Prince Edward Island, Canada, which became a major turning point for me. I had to adapt to a new language and culture, school spirit days, PE games, music classes, and community events helped me feel included. I learned to skate, curl, and sail, and take part in charity events. PI taught me that learning happens everywhere, not just in classrooms, and community truly matters. In grade 5, my family moved again, this time to Surrey, British Columbia. I began taking on leadership roles. I volunteered, joined the choir, helped as a lunch supervisor, and even cared for our class's fish tank. Grade 6 brought online learning. That experience taught me self-discipline and independence because I had to manage my own schedule from home. Returning to school in grade 7, I rebuilt my confidence and connections. From grade 8 to 11, high school expanded my world. Jazz band, Model UN student council, athletics, and volunteering gave me confidence and purpose. Achievements and awards were meaningful, but what mattered the most was learning to listen to others, teamwork, and resilience. Volunteering at Museum of Surrey and Peace Arch Hospital programs helped me see volunteering and leadership as service. Today, I'm more aware of my strengths and limits. I'm learning to balance my ambition with my well-being and to value relationships just as much as academic success. After grade 12, I hope to attend the University of Alberta to study biology, live more independently, and continue music, maybe even learn the ukulele. I want to work part-time as a tutor, travel with my friends, and keep saying thank you to those who support me. And yeah, I'm grateful for every step, and I'm excited for what comes next. Throughout my high school journey, I have grown in the areas of personal and social responsibility, communication, and thinking. I'll share where my strengths are, where I'm still growing, and some examples that show my skills in action. Personal and social responsibility. One of my strengths is perseverance. I stick with difficult tasks even when things don't go the way I hoped. For example, when I didn't perform my best on the stage, or when I was sick and still needed to catch up with schoolwork. Instead of giving up, I reminded myself that I'm capable and that progress matters more than perfection. Another strength is balance. I've learned to manage school, extracurricular activities, volunteering, and time with friends. I became more aware of my habits. I try to use them to support my learning, such as planning ahead and building routines. This book and Atomic Habits by James Clear have helped me to build my habits. I've also learned to recognize my strength and use them to help others. I try to help others feel included and valued in gentle and supportive ways. For example, I have volunteered for cultural outreach during Lunar New Year's on numerous occasions, and I frequently participate in other cultural activities to promote diversity. I also play the saxophone, and as a result, I co-founded a youth music organization called the Course of Care, which aims to bring music to seniors in the White Rock and South Surrey community. This picture shows me hosting the Course of Care music event, at Whitecliff last year. My main area of growth here has been listening with empathy. By observing different personalities and working with many types of people, I've become more intentional about understanding others before responding. Communication. A major strength for me is being an active listener. I make an effort to give others my full attention, ask clarifying questions, and appreciate different perspectives. In presentation groups and student council meetings, I distribute leadership, encouraging others to speak, acknowledging their contributions, and noticing when voices may be missing. I value collaboration because better ideas come when everyone's involved. This is a group photo of our council last year, and here I am, here. A key area of growth has been stepping outside my comfort zone. I became more confident in communicating with unfamiliar groups and building working relationships with others, especially in volunteering and leadership. Thinking. In the area of thinking, one of my strengths is analyzing information and drawing logical conclusions. My research project for Capstone on the effects of stress on the heart is a good example. I evaluated different sources to make sure they were credible and organized the information so it supported my argument. My growth here is reflecting on my strategies. I've become more willing to ask, did this work? Do I need to change my approach? Do I need help? I'm learning that asking for support is actually a smart strategy, not a weakness. Now I'm going to start sharing my capstone project. My capstone project investigates how chronic stress affects heart health in adolescents. This topic connects strongly to both my interest in cardiology and the growing concern about teens' well-being. My final product is a research essay on why ignoring teen stress puts their hearts at risk, along with a poster on chronic stress and the teen heart health, which I'll show later again. In the essay, I describe common stressors, how stress damages the cardiovascular system, including hormonal changes and the plaque buildup in the arteries, and why current systems often fail to intervene early. I also outline specific prevention strategies that healthcare providers, schools, and families can use. This essay includes a short personal reflection on my own experience with heart-related symptoms. I argue that heart health is often treated as an adult concern, which is a dangerous misconception. Prevention is possible and urgently needed for teenagers, not just mental health advice, but real medical awareness and monitoring. Therefore, my thesis is that chronic stress in teenagers is not only a mental health issue, it is a major preventable threat to cardiovascular health, and the lack of early intervention from schools, healthcare systems, and families put teens at long-term risk. Through this project, I hope to raise awareness about the physical consequences of stress and to empower teens to take better care for their mental health and heart health. After sharing my work with many peers and teens in the community, many have already said they related to it and felt more motivated to address their stress more intentionally. Now I will share the process of this project, the challenges encountered, and the lessons learned. It took me around 13 weeks to do this project, and I kept detailed weekly logs to track my progress, thinking, and reflections. At the beginning, I reviewed my capstone proposal and researched the difference between acute and chronic stress. I learned that acute stress can sometimes motivate us, while chronic stress keeps our bodies in fight or fight, raising cortisol and blood pressure. I also created a glossary terms for terms I didn't know and scientific terms I might use later in my writing. This is the capstone research glossary that I kept while I researched. Has some of the most important terms and its definitions, like these, with some of the diagrams, like this. Next, I shifted to understanding how the body actually responds to stress. I studied the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, blood pressure, and the cortisol response. Reading medical articles was challenging, but by doing so helped me to understand how chronic cortisol elevation really strains the heart, how inflammation increases, and how the heart works harder over time. By this stage, I also organized my notes into categories causes, effects, and prevention. In another phase, I moved into more advanced research, including a 2017 Lancet study led by Dr. Ahmad Tawako, using CT and PET scans. His team found that people with higher amygdala activity, the brain's stress center, had higher risk of cardiovascular disease. This helped me see the brain-heart connection, how the stress activates the brain and inflammation increases and the arteries get damaged. I also learned that how stress indirectly harms heart health through poor diet, sleep loss, inactivity, and unhealthy coping behaviors. At this point, I started asking deeper questions. What can we do to manage stress? More importantly, how do we prevent stress? What resources and strategies do schools and communities currently provide and can provide in the future? These questions guided my inquiry for the last stage of my research. Before writing, I organized everything into a new document and refined my direction by creating my thesis, which is chronic stress in teenagers is not just a mental health issue, it is a preventable threat to cardiovascular health, and the lack of early intervention puts teens' hearts at risk. Next, I created a detailed outline and began drafting. My report follows this structure: severity of teen chronic stress, biological heart damage from stress, unhealthy coping behaviors, and why systems respond too late, prevention strategies, and action steps. In my final stage, I revised the essay for flow, edited the grammar, and formatted the references using MLA9. I prepared some questions for my mentor and incorporated her suggestions after our meeting. So by the week 13, I had a polished research report that's supported by creditable sources, scientific studies, and my own personal insight. Challenges I overcame. Throughout this inquiry, I faced several challenges. The first one has been medical vocabulary. I solved this by rereading and summarizing in my own words, and also keeping a glossary. The second one has been finding teen-specific research. I solved this by cross-checking multiple academic journals and organizations. The third one has been staying focused. I occasionally researched too broadly, but creating the thesis and the outline helped anchor me. Oh, and lastly, balancing work and stress. Ironically, my project reminded me to practice self-care and healthy pacing. Key learnings and applications. The biggest takeaway is that stress really leaves physical footprints on hearts, and especially in the hearts of teenagers. It can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. I also learned that research requires patience, curiosity, credibility checking, and constant reflection, and that teens benefit from tools like mindfulness, time management, better sleeping habits, emotional support, exercise, and most importantly, medical checks, because they can detect health problems at an early stage. And ultimately, more families need a stronger wellness education. Only by paying attention to their children's mental health and physical health, they can build a supportive environment for them. This project changed the way I think about health. Now I can recognize stress's biological impact, and I have applied many lessons learned into my own routines, sleeping habits, and coping strategies. In the future, I want to raise more awareness of the effects of stress on both physical and mental health, and help others in managing their challenges. I created a poster on chronic stress and teen heart health. It explains what happens when you're in your body when you are stressful for a long period of time, how to recognize stress, a 3-step help plan for managing stress, and some practical coping strategies and resources I've explored and have found helpful for managing stress. Before concluding, I'd like to leave you with one question to think about. What signs does your body give you when you feel stressed? And what helps you feel calm, even briefly? Thank you for listening.